Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Signposts Live. I gotta remember to unmute that microphone button. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you for joining me here on this Thursday. We do have a really exciting webcast today. We're going to be looking into Return of the Ancient Gods. This is based on something that was shared yesterday on Wisdom Transmissions on YouTube, when I was bringing in Adronis, and he was talking about a major update. I did not expect him to bring in that type of information, so it was quite a surprise for me. We were talking about some other topics, and he came in and basically said that there is a presence around the Earth. There is a object that kind of looks like an asteroid, but it's not really an asteroid. It would be more likened to a moon that is just behind our moon. And it would be kind of like, even as the mainstream's calling it, a temporary companion for the moon. And that this actually, this particular object does contain inhabitants. And that these inhabitants represent that of what we could almost refer to as the Anunnaki, or the ancient ones. These are not the imposters. These are not the doppelgangers or anything of that nature. These are the original ones. These are the ones that assisted in the co-creation of humanity, and that they are here right now, and they represent the coming of a new age that represents the end of corruption on the planet. So it was a very, very fascinating transmission. If you haven't checked it out yet, I suggest going onto my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@wisdomtransmissions, and you can check that out. We had one heck of a one heck of a webcast yesterday. That was such a surprise to me. So I was blown away by it. So this is what I wanted to do today, was to basically just go into a tarot reading and look a little bit more into this quote-unquote second moon. And if it is indeed truly the return of the ancient gods, I have no doubt that Adronis is, of course, telling the truth. But we want to look a little bit more deeper into this and find out more about these gods. And we're going to do a zodiac spread and find out a little bit more about them. If they are indeed on this second moon, what brings them here, just getting an understanding of the inhabitants of the smaller second moon. So there have been a lot of reports of people filming this in the sky, that it's just like a little, it's almost like a star that's coming closer and closer to the moon. It's a bright shining light, and that scientists are calling it like an asteroid, again, like an asteroid companion to the moon. And again, just seeing this is thrilling. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at it through a zodiac spread. After that, we'll be getting to some announcements, and then we'll be taking questions from the audience. Okay, so if you guys do have any questions lined up, please just make sure they're semi-personal or general in nature, and I'll be taking them. Okay, and you can also leave a donation on the chat. That's always appreciated, and that will put your question in priority sequence. So we're going to be getting to Q&A here in a little bit. First and foremost, I'm going to go ahead and switch my angle here of camera. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at a zodiac spread relating to the return of the ancient gods. Right? Are these indeed the beings of our past that assisted in the co-creation of the human race, and why they may be returning? That's going to be the question that we're going to pose to the tarot, and just see exactly what comes up through the zodiac spread. See what we get. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, well, that is a very good sign. Just for the first card that's coming down, that is Aries. Okay, so I'm just going to try and move this over a little bit. There we go. Just so we get a good perspective here. So that's Aries. Second house, Taurus. Oh, another good sign. This is really good so far. Third sign, Capricorn. Sorry, not Capricorn. Gemini, I should say. I don't know why Capricorn popped in my mind there. Third sign is Gemini. Fourth sign is Cancer. Let's make sure I have enough room here. Fifth sign is Leo. 6th sign is Virgo. Okay. 7th sign is Libra. Okay, do we have enough room here? Let me move it up a bit here, just so I can get all the cards on the camera here for you. Okay, 7th sign is Libra. 8th sign is Scorpio. Okay. 9th is Sagittarius. This is a very good thing. 10th sign, Capricorn. The 11th being Aquarius. Just trying to make sure I get room here. I think I'm running out of room. Okay. And 12th sign representing Pisces. Okay. And then 13th card representing how we react to everything that's being shown here in the reading. All right, so we got a lot of cards to go over here. So taking a look firstly at the first house, we have something that's coming back full circle. Okay, so this is like looking at humanity's beginnings, and now it's coming back into a time to where humanity is about to reach a greater state of maturity, pertaining to indeed the creator gods. Okay, so the feeling I'm getting here is asking that question: are these indeed the creator gods that have assisted in the co-creation of humanity? The answer is most definitely yes. Okay, these are indeed the creator gods that are coming together. And of course, it's kind of interesting that we're seeing a human right in the middle. And we're also seeing, again, we see these other symbols, but it also reminds me of the other races that were the contributors of the 22 different genetic programs contained within ourselves, right? The DNA of 22 different species. And that's what this card really symbolizes to me. It's speaking of it out loud, right? So through our co-creation came the birth of the human race. So these are indeed the ancient ones. These are indeed the ancient gods. These indeed could be the Sumerian gods that have been spoken of. Like I said, they're not malevolent. They're not here to harm humanity, but they are here to oppose deception. That's basically what I'm seeing here, because that's what's being aspected here. We're going to flush these guys out, right? That's exactly why we're back. We're getting the devil off the earth, okay? And so it feels here with this aspecting, and it doesn't feel like it's just one particular race that is on that mini moon, I'll call it, the second moon or the mini moon. It doesn't feel like it's just one particular race. It feels like it's a group. Adronis has always talked about in the past about how the Anunnaki basically represent a group of beings, right? They are a monad. They're not just one particular race. They're not just one particular civilization, but they are a conundrum. A conglomerate, a conglomerate of races that represent, quote unquote, the Anunnaki. So this would also be very, very much in alignment to what he has shared in the past. And that this is aspecting the 7th house. The 7th house basically relates to publicity, war, controversy in that way. And it's telling me they're back to get the devil off the planet. They're here to help to scrub the planet completely clean. So they may be taking on an overseeing role here and to say, get those scumbags off the planet right now, right? That may be what is actually happening. Are there going to be some visitations? Are we actually going to be able to see these beings? I don't think so, but they're basically playing a behind the scenes role. It's very much like what I've talked about before pertaining to the human guardians, right? We're not really going to see them convey themselves publicly, but they are working in the background, and we basically have to go into the subconscious to even know that they exist, right? Same thing with this. We basically have to go into the subconscious to know that they exist, because these are background players. These are background moderators. They are not here to pop out a window and say, hey, humans, how's it going? We helped create you, by the way. Okay, they're not here to do that. So this is why we have to kind of look into the subconscious just to get the idea of what these beings represent. Okay. Now we go into the 2nd house, which can often represent wealth, can also represent the nature of kind of like the turning of the tide, the feeling I'm getting here. So it also has not only the nature of wealth, but also represents communication, stability, security as well too. And that's what I feel like this is what this represents. I'm just getting some extra notes on more information regarding Taurus. But there's security and there's stability. So we could say that the planet is now moving into a higher state of security. So it's not just dealing with wealth, it also deals with speech, communication, stability, and security, right? That's the nature of Taurus. It's like a mountain range, which again we have here. We have a mountain range, we have the Ace of Swords here, we have the crown. So this is telling me that this is indeed the ancient ones. These are indeed the Anunnaki of old. And like I said, not the ones that have been trying to enforce enslavement upon the human race. These are the original creators. These are the co-creators that are coming back that have seeded this world with humankind right here. Okay, so that is most definitely a confirmation right there. And this is aspecting Scorpio. Okay, so for Scorpio, we have the High Priestess. We have also the sign of the moon as well too, which is also appropriate because we're looking at a second moon here. So they represent divine knowledge, and they represent again a lot of secrecy. And I think they're probably going to be working together with other alliances that are here to spill more beans, to basically speak a lot more pertaining to what we're going to see relating to the complete and total takedown of the devil, so to speak. The devil is being flushed out, and I think they may be sharing some vital information. They may also be handling a particular type of disclosure. So we may also start to see something disclosed that may come through them. This is very interesting. Are they going to have a role on this planet? I think we'll have to kind of look through the cards here a little more and see. But the High Priestess often deals with occult knowledge, sacred knowledge, right? Sacredness. Of course, if we're looking at Scorpio, we're seeing things like secrecy and scandals, but it also relates to longevity, ancient traditions, but death and unexpected torment. So this may be again the final flag nail, the final nail in the coffin relating to the dark forces on this planet. They are done, right? If you have to basically get the ancient co-creators that assisted in the creation of humanity to come in and saying, what the hell has been going on here? Because that kind of feels like the case here. It's saying, what is this? What is this garbage here? What is this doing on the planet, right? Get it off. And that's basically what's happening. So I think they're using their major influence because, like I said, if they are our co-creators, we have inherited a lot of their karma. And we've inherited a lot of their karma because something like this has come on the planet and not supposed to be here, and it needs to go. So to me, it feels like there's going to be a lot of disclosures that are going to be coming. I think there's going to be a lot of an exposure agenda that is going to lead to a further flushing down the toilet of the dark forces. So this is, again, revealing a lot of sacred hidden knowledge. Again, perhaps it's going to be coming out in some shape, way, or form here. But Scorpio can represent that nature of death. It can represent that nature of deep secrecy, deep secrets, scandals, and again, a lot of hidden knowledge that is now going to start coming into the light. Now we go to the third house, which is Libra. Libra, again, represents communication. So not Libra. What is wrong with me today? Sorry, this is Gemini. What am I saying? Why am I calling it Libra? I don't know. I was just on Libra. This is Gemini. Okay. So Gemini also deals with communication. It also deals with skills and courage. It also represents active body, mind, enterprise, short travel, communication, personal hobbies. So basically, we can say it's kind of a communication thing. But I would say that this is telling me that they are coming back to deliver balance. This is all about balance. It's coming back. They are seeing exactly what hideous things are being done on this planet. They are seeing exactly what these insane ogres have basically been doing to the planet. And they are going to work together with, I think, a lot of other groups that are here to help clean up the mess. And like I said, you basically have to have them come here. Because if they are the ones who are the original seeders, if they are the ones who have helped to bring about humankind, this version of humankind, because there are other human beings across many other different planets, but we represent a certain type, and these are our forebearers. They have to be here. They have to be here at a certain time. Adronis was also talking about yesterday that it indicates a significator of the Pluto return, which indicates that everything representing the old corrupt ways, the old corrupt infrastructures on this planet is going to be completely and totally bulldozed. It's going to be demolished entirely. So this is just another confirmation of a lot of interesting things happening in this cleanup decade, where we actually have our own forebearers. You have your forefathers, your foremothers that represent these this ancient race, and they are ancient, right? They are billions of years old. Okay, these are extremely intelligent beings, and they basically had to leave humanity alone for a certain amount of time so that we could grow and mature and basically stand up on our own 2 feet. And I feel like they're starting to see that now and say, good, now that humanity is starting to wake up, now that they're starting to awaken themselves, we can step in and we're going to do some internal house cleaning. Okay. And so with the third house, Gemini, aspecting that of Sagittarius, Sagittarius also represents the nature of good fortune, but it also represents father and guru, right? So to me, this kind of tells me that the parents are coming back here, and there's going to be good fortune. There's going to be a spiritual path. There's a positivity, higher knowledge, right? Purpose. This is all about a soul contract. Okay. So that's exactly why they're coming back. Everything so far about this reading is confirming the presence of the Anunnaki, confirming the presence of the ancient gods, right? We've called them ancient gods because of what they are, but we don't really have to even call them ancient gods. That's just been the mainstream label for them. But these are our parents. These are our parents. These are our ancestors. They are very much our forebearers. Okay, we are their descendants. So they may not even like the idea of us calling them gods, because you're not. You know, am I going to call my mother and my father and my grandparents gods? Not really. These are your parents. These are your grandparents. These are your great ancestors. These are the ones that helped to seed humankind on the planet. So I wouldn't really refer to them accurately as gods, even though that is the mainstream depiction of them. No, they are parents. They are ancestors, right? They are family coming back to assist their children. And they want to get this damn thing off the planet as soon as possible. That's basically what I'm feeling here. Like, they are not here to mess around. They're saying, we're getting that off the planet right now. We want that off the planet right now. Get it done, right? And that's kind of the feeling I'm seeing with them. So I'm like, hallelujah, that's great. Wonderful. Hallelujah for that. So that's kind of the feeling I'm getting here for the third and the ninth house. Good fortune. It's kind of like a karmic return. The parents have come back, and they're saying, we are going to help in cleaning up this planet, because this is ridiculous, right? We want these ogres off the planet. They don't belong here. This is not their world. They were never meant to get involved. They were never meant to get involved with the human plan. They were never meant to take over the world. They were never meant to claim their ridiculous systems and put this on this planet. They are parasites, and we want the parasites off the planet. So we will work together with the groups that are aiding with the earth. We're going to help our children out, and we're going to take these foul parasites off the planet for good. And that's basically what I'm saying. They're arriving here with a no BS attitude, right? They're just seeing what's going on and saying, what the hell, man? What is this? What is going on here? What's the deal with this? Let's get them off the planet right now. Okay, so there is going to be much more of an enforcement that's going to be coming together. And I think we're going to see a clean sweeping of a lot of the dark forces off the planet very quickly. Okay, definitely I would say before the end of the decade. So maybe it's even quicker than that. We'll see. But this is a really good sign so far. Okay, so the fourth house here representing Capricorn. This again tells me it's like the parents coming home, right? We're here to see our children. We're here to check on the earth. We're here to check on their mother. We're here to check on to see how the children are doing. We're here to help. Okay, they are not here to deceive you. They are not here to turn the tide. This is something that is so incredibly huge. Like I said, these are our ancestors. Okay, And when humanity was created, it was created out of love, because that is exactly what this card symbolizes. This card represents love, joy, fulfillment, completion, right? Complete and total compassion and joy with what has been brought forward on the earth, right? Where you would basically look at biblical proverbs, and even the angels would bow their knee before humankind, right? And these are the ones not only who bowed their knee, who bent their knee, I should say, and bowed in reverence to humankind, but these are the ones, again, who want to ensure that we are walking the right path, okay? So there's going to be a lot of shaking up on the planet relating to our own ancestors that are coming back and helping to eliminate the parasites off this planet. When I just kind of tune into their energy right now, and I'm looking at them, they're saying, Brad, we are getting those scumbags off the earth. They don't belong here. They should not be here. They don't belong here. You have been completely and totally crippled by their systems for so long. And kind of goes back to like that old saying, God's children are not for sale, right? And that's exactly what they stand for as well, too. So this is something very, very positive. I'm not seeing any form of deception from what I'm seeing here, but there's going to be a clean sweep, and that clean sweep is going to be somewhat unpleasant for people that are hanging on to those systems, right? So there's always going to be a duality there, which we'll get into here shortly. But again, we have the 4th house here, which represents the return of the ancestors, and it's aspecting 10th house, which is Capricorn. So my feeling is they're going to be knocking a lot of these corrupt ones off their thrones, right? And I'm pretty much sure that the elites are now looking at this and crapping their pants and saying, why are they here? Why are the ancient co-creators of humanity here? What are they doing here? We were never told about this. This was a complete and total surprise. Maybe for someone who's looking at this in the subconscious for a while, maybe they've seen it coming. I certainly did not see this coming. The idea of the return of the ancestors so quickly, right? I think maybe this would happen maybe in a few years or a couple of decades or something like that. It's happening right now. This is huge information. This is huge news, my friends. This is not something that is minor. This is not something that is just a mundane event. This is more gigantic than anything else that's happening on the planet right now. This is huge and enormous. Okay, I don't think people understand, because even when Adronis was coming through yesterday, I was expecting other people to ask questions about this. They didn't. And no offense to anybody, of course. I enjoyed the questions that we had yesterday, but I was really expecting someone to ask questions about this. Adronis just dropped a bombshell of an announcement on the entire planet for everybody that heard him, and like no one asked about it. That perplexed me. Like, really? We're talking about the ancient ancestors that helped to create humanity coming back and assisting in the cleanup of the planet, and you guys don't have anything to say about it. Come on. I mean, let's get some good questions about this. This is enormous news. Okay. So again, 10th house representing Capricorn. So that may represent the idea of a struggle of leadership. That may represent, again, because we have Scorpio and Venus here. So again, this can represent the idea of great change coming together, but something for the better, right? So the whole questionability of authority and leadership on this planet, status, all of that is going to be called into question, right? So my feeling is that there's going to be a great culling going on, just cutting out, trimming a lot of the fat that represents a lot of these corrupt. I mean, this is a great significator that the corrupt are finished. They are done. Like when you have the parents coming back to check on the home, and you're seeing a bunch of these invaders and parasites coming in, well, they're going to be taking action, and they're going to ensure that they will not rest until these suckers are gone. And that's really what I'm seeing here. They are not pleased with what they've seen here, of what's been happening to their children, and what's been happening to the Divine Mother, the Earth. Right? I would say they're kind of pissed, and so they're going to be cleaning house here. That's something I can guarantee you. So when we get to the 5th house here, we have Leo. So like I said, they're looking at the idea of rebalancing the earth. So here we are, seeing the earth in the palm of our hand. Here's the wands, right? Two of wands. So this is representing action. Okay, so we're looking at Leo, and Leo is all about courage. Leo is all about strength. Leo is all about counsel. Okay, charisma, creativity, intuition, counsel, discernment, mind's inclination, intellect. Okay, so there's going to be a very big plan that is going to come together that is just going to wipe out the parasites of this planet. I would not want to be them right now. They are, I would not be surprised if they're just seeing what's happening and just crapping their pants. Because when you have them coming back here, oh, it's not going to be good for them. It is not going to be good for them at all. They are finished. And so, again, that's really what this is representing, Aries and Mars. So this can also represent aggression. This can represent war, right? Because, again, we're looking at the idea of not really war, but basically just a cleanup. It's almost like a one-sided extermination of the elites. It's a one-sided extermination of them. I'm saying this in the best way that I can. Thankfully, I'm on Rumble and I can talk about this, but they are looking to exterminate the parasites, right? Anybody who is basically corrupt, that again, it's kind of like they're looking at the force that is behind this, and they want to basically cut its head off. That's how pissed they are at this whole thing about these entities coming upon the planet that do not belong here. These parasites that have been running the earth for thousands of years, this is not their home. This is not where they belong. This is not where they're supposed to nest. And so basically, you have the parents that are just sharpening up their swords and just ready to cut the parasite's head off. That's how pissed they are at all of this that's been happening. I can see that. They want justice, right? We're going to take care of our children. We want our children to prosper. You dare get in the path of our children, we're going to fuck you up. And that's basically the feeling I'm getting here. They're ready to just chop this parasite into 1,000 pieces. That's how angry I can feel they are. Right? And so here we go with the 5th house aspecting the 11th house, which is Aquarius. So again, we're seeing change. We're seeing the idea of these old systems and saying, humanity, we're going to work together with many other groups that are here, and we're going to work together with your ground crew, and you are never going to see these particular types of systems coming together again, because a lot of this is on us, right? This is our karma that we have brought down to our children. Our children are struggling, and you guys are not going to have to deal with this alone anymore. We are going to bear a lot of the brunt with this, and we are going to ensure that every single corrupt system on this planet is dying and basically is going to completely and totally implode. So that's kind of the feeling I'm getting here. We're going to be walking away from a lot of those old things. Right? So this is also Pisces and Saturn. So it is a process. It is going to be happening. But like I said, it's an abandonment of the old systems, right? But again, of course, Aquarius represents gains. It can represent desires, goals, free-spirited, wealth, as it also has wealth or income from career, but elder siblings. So elders, again, telling me about the Anunnaki, right? The true Anunnaki, not the fakes, okay? Those ones who basically came here and enslaved humanity to mine gold for them, they are not the true Anunnaki. The Nibiruans are not the true Anunnaki, okay? They are the imposters. They would see exactly the ancient gods of the past, and they would act like them, right? And they did not belong here. And these were just one of several different parasitic groups that came here and said, "Oh, look at Earth. Look what's happening here," right? And basically coming together and robbing us of our resources and also enslaving humanity, right? And so again, our parents were not here at this time because they were basically being told by the higher forces, you have to withdraw. You have to let your children go through this hard time, because they were given too much power too quickly in Atlantis, and through what happened with Atlantis, with the Great Flood, right? Every culture on the planet talks about that ancient flood. It's not a myth. It's the ancient flood history, right? We don't call it a myth because it did actually happen. And with the downfall of that, the children needed to be on their own. They needed to reset. They needed to start their own way again. And so at some particular point, the parents would be allowed to come back by these higher forces. Okay, go to your children now, because now they're starting to wake up. Okay, great. And then they're back here. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing here relating to this this alignment here, this aspecting of the cards. Then we go to the 6th house, which is Virgo. Well, this is exactly what I'm talking about, extermination. Okay, complete and total extermination of the parasites on this planet, right? They are taking no prisoners. They are saying, you guys are done. Basically, they're going to be laying out their enemies. So however that's going to be done is not quite clear to me. But like I said, they're going to be working with a lot of task forces. I think they're going to be helping out with strategy. I think they're also going to be looking at foresight as well, too. We may start to look at predictions, because these beings are ancient, right? They're billions of years old, and they have they know their way around these things. So it's going to be interesting, right? So people may say, well, Brad, what do these beings look like? Well, a lot of them do look like humans. Some of them may, again, have other different alterations to them. There may be ones that are avian. There may be ones that are reptilian. There may be ones that are mammalian, right? Kind of like mammaloids in that way. Aquatics, okay? So yeah, human, a lot of them different mixture. Jonas basically talks about the 6 root races. If I'm remembering them correctly, it's human, it's reptilian, it's insectoid, it's aquatic, it's mammalian, it's avian, okay? And those are kind of like the forebearers of ourselves, but they will look very much more human in that way. They are the humanoid equivalent of those 6 seeded races. So very, very interesting here. And that's the true Anunnaki, right? So there you go. But this is what I'm seeing here. Gemini, the sun, right? The sun can be cruel, but Gemini, again, also relates to communication, but it also relates to the nature of an active body-mind, doing what's necessary, doing what needs to be done, fulfilling a dharma that needs to take place. And so there is an extermination that is looking to happen pertaining to the parasitical dark forces. They're going to be wiped off the planet. And then we come into Pisces. Pisces, again, represents loss. And there's going to be a falling away of the old systems. And there may be some people who do not like that because they're very much attached to the old systems. But there's going to be something new that comes together. So it kind of looks like there's a split here that's happening, right? Scorpio and Mars coming together. So Scorpio representing loss, death. Mars, again, representing that type of energy. But a new energy is going to blossom all together. So again, we're going to see a lot more of the takedown of a lot of these old systems. And a lot of people are addicted to them. That's why there may be sadness in that. But like I said, this is why there is a dividing line upon the planet right now. How do we all react in regards to this? Well, this is a time of strength. This is a time of courage. This is something that is going to bring about something even better, right? There's something greater. But in order for us to get there, we got to watch the old fall away. And a lot of people are attached to the old systems. But they have to fall, they have to purge, they have to be released. The parasite needs its head cut off. And that's basically what I'm seeing here. Right? They're coming here because they're basically going to war. They're going to be fighting off the parasites and working together with the resources that they have. And the resources are absolutely amazing. And they're working with other groups and saying, no, it's not about trying to get them to surrender. Exterminate them. That's basically what their command is. Exterminate them. I want this entire parasite exterminated off the planet. I don't want to reason with it. I don't want to negotiate with it. You are to kill it. Simple as that. That's basically what they're saying. So they're here they mean business. So this is very much true. Everything pretty much Adronis shared yesterday is right on the money from what I'm seeing here. This is going to be an amazing time for humankind. Right? We are seeing the complete and total downfall of this old system, of these parasites. They are never going to be able to rise again. And in fact, that whole demonic energy, right, just Satan worshipping psychopaths are basically going to completely be jettisoned, ejected, purged from this planet, never ever able to set foot on it again. So that's what this is all about, guys. It means business. That's what I'm getting out of this entire reading. So it's very good news, but it's going to be intense. Like I said, as I talked about with this whole decade is a cleanup decade. It needs to bring about this purging. This whole parasitical entourage that's been on this planet can't remain. It has to go. And now, according to the parents that are coming in, no, we're going to exterminate them. We're cutting their heads off. They are not getting away with anything anymore. Because as soon as you try to show mercy to them, they will take advantage of you. As soon as you say, "Oh, we surrender," and trying to give this act that they're going to surrender, they'll turn on you again, and they'll try again. The only way that they are going to be completely and totally free, that being the earth and the children, is when this parasite is dead. And that's basically what they're looking for, is to exterminate the parasite that has been invading this planet for many thousands of years. It doesn't belong here. This is not its planet. It is not meant to be here. It needs to be destroyed. And I'm just basically speaking on behalf of how they're feeling. Okay, so this is profound information, my friends. So how about we take a break quickly? We're going to take a short break. We're going to do some announcements, and then we're going to come back and take some questions. Okay, but huge news, no doubt. Very, very amazing. That is what that little miniature moon represents that's behind our moon right now, right? Like I said, there's quite a few reports of that. Again, scientists are calling it an asteroid. But Adrona says, well, it's not an asteroid. It is actually a moon. But anyways, we'll talk more about it here shortly. We're going to go ahead and move on to some announcements. Here we go.
Private one-to-one sessions have returned with Brad Johnson and Adronis, with appointment times from 30, 45, and 60 minutes online. Offline sessions including the 3 questions by email and distance healing are now available. Book your session now through our website, wisdomtransmissions.com.
Get readings with Breanne and be astonished at the depth and accuracy she provides for you through her tarot readings. Breanne can create crystal grids for distance healing, plus offer Reiki and Kundalini attunements. She is also a certified Flying Star Feng Shui consultant. Visit Breanne's website and book your session today at readingswithbreanne.com.
Source Energy enhanced products to repair and rejuvenate the body. From the power of light to crystals to bed kits, card decks, and more. View our free samples, tutorials, and testimonials on our website, etherx.co.
And we're also producing a brand new product that is going to be debuting later today. It's going to be on our upcoming newsletter. It's called the Digestive Enhancer Massage Oil. So that is going to contain certain frequencies for people who have been affected by gluten intolerances, constipation, heavy digestive issues, parasites in the body. All of that is going to get swept out, cleaned out through what I'm offering. Okay, so it's a brand new product. Like I said, going to be available later this afternoon. That is the Etherix Digestive Enhancer Massage Oil. So again, more of that information is coming later today. If you're subscribed to etherix.co, you'll get the newsletter. If not, you can go ahead and you can subscribe there on the main page, etherix.co. And you can actually go www.etherix.co. I fixed that now. So some people, I just had to tell, okay, just go to etherix.co. Don't do www, but it's okay. I fixed that now, so everything's good. Okay, so we are back, and we're going to go ahead and get into some questions. So like I said, if you guys do have any donation-based questions, that will put you in priority sequence. Otherwise, we're just going to go down the list here. Okay, so we have the first question here from FDYMLK, and FDYMLK says, "Hi Brad, could you let us know what is going on? I find out now that France wants to tax you when you travel more than 5 years. England, now they tax you if you come to the country with car tax." Okay, so we'll look in that very quickly, but it wouldn't surprise me. They're just taxing everything, my friends. This is why it's poison. They want to tax you for everything. They want to inflate everything. They just want to basically leave you penniless with every particular type of tax that there is. So it wouldn't surprise me at all. But let's kind of look at France, because if we're kind of looking at France and England at the same time, it can be a little bit confusing. You have 2 different countries doing 2 different things. So let's find out about France, that they want to tax you if you travel more than 5 years. I'm not too sure what more than 5 years is, but just in the idea of taxing you if you travel. Okay, England now, they tax you if you come to the country with the car. So just to let us know what's happening with France and all this taxing stuff that's going on. Okay, so let's take a look at that. All right, the France tax. Okay, I'll put my other screen back on here. There we go. Okay. So again, we see that the obstacle is there, and we see that strength and resources are there. Okay. But this is all part of people revolting. And that's my feeling, is that yes, a lot of this stuff is happening. They are trying to tax people like crazy, right? And like I said, all they're doing is they're just feeding the super wealthy. The super wealthy basically wants to line their pockets. They want their pockets with all this tax money. It's like in Canada too, where we have the carbon tax, right? And France is going to tax you for things. England's going to tax you for things. Because these are all countries that are completely susceptible to this, to the parasite, right? So they are most definitely going to try to line their pockets, right? And basically create these things out of thin air that represent taxation, right? And it's killing people. You're right. It certainly is. But the good news, like I said, is that this is all part and parcel of the people standing up saying, we can't take this anymore. We're not going to deal with this anymore. And there needs to be much more of a presence. This is just one of many things that I've talked about a lot in the past. Oops, that I've talked a lot about in the past that is happening from many different countries. And there's going to be a stand-up point to it. So like I said, I think it's going to be short-lived. But I'm just going to do a quick Akasha on it. Taking a look at this. Yeah, there's going to be some revolt. Paris, not just Paris, France, but France itself is going to be going through a major revolution, right? And this is all that their mentality is right now. They know that people are starting to wake up. They know that their plans are about to be foiled, and all they want to do is just push the accelerator to the max and try to tax the living hell out of you. And as long as you guys keep giving your obedience to it, they're going to keep doing it, right? And so this is telling me that there's going to be a revolt. There's going to be some major shakeups in Paris, in France altogether. And like I said, I think we're going to start seeing some major transformations, some major turnarounds of this. Maybe there's going to be another election, perhaps. They may then require another election that's coming together. But the feeling I'm getting is that this is not going to last for very long, right? It may still play itself out for a few months. I'm not really just talking about the taxes about travel, but I'm basically just talking about many taxes in general, okay? And this is really the obstacle. This is all the devil. This is all the parasite, right? But from what I'm getting here from the Akasha is that this is going to cause people to revolt. This is going to cause people to stand up and they say they've had enough and they may demand another election, right? So that's kind of the feeling I'm getting here. So it isn't going to last long. It is going to rejuvenate. It is going to change, okay? But the people have to make that change happen. And I'm not even just speaking of France either. I'm talking about England. I'm talking about many other countries that are, this one is specifically for France, but it correlates together with what a lot of other countries are going through pertaining to high taxation, Canada included. We are just being charged out the butt right now with insane taxes that are ridiculous, okay? So like I said, this is just going to cause, as long as we sit complacently and we let this happen, it's going to continue to happen. There needs to be a standing up. There needs to be a revolt. There needs to be protests. There needs to be progress moving forward with the people where they say enough is enough. We're not going to do this, right? And I feel that time very quickly is coming, okay? Thank you for your question. Okay, here's one from Sam D. Gadef. Sam, I'll just call you Sam if that's okay. Can you do a reading for the Pulse Chain coin? Okay, I've not heard of Pulse Chain, but we'll take a look at that. Let's see how that goes. I think I'll do a 4-card reading with that, just get an idea of how it will do. Pulse Chain coin currency, about how it will do. Okay, how it will do on the market. Yeah, that's not a good card. Okay. I would not suggest investing in that. Okay, when we have this here, this is telling me maybe they're using it. It could be a decoy cryptocurrency. It could be another cryptocurrency that dark forces are trying to promote to try and get something else up there, maybe to basically bring about more riches to them. So I would say stay away from that coin. Okay, Pulse chain feels like a dark force coin. So my guess is they're trying to build it up, maybe because Bitcoin is now starting to get under fire, and maybe they're looking for a new coin to come together. And this tells me that this is dark force, dark cult oriented. So just be careful with that. So I would not recommend that one as a coin of choice. As I talked about, guys, if you're looking into, guys and gals, if you're looking into a coin that you want to get behind, XRP. Okay, that's really the one that I would suggest. Ethereum is pretty good as well too. But XRP would be my crypto coin of choice. As Adronis says, that really around 2026, 2028, we're going to see much more of a rise of cryptocurrency. I think the market will fundamentally increase a great deal more around that time. It could happen in 2025, but it's more likely between 2026 and 2028, where a lot of different cryptos are going to be spiking up because I think there's going to be more of a demand for them. But certain ones, unfortunately, are kind of like hackable, or I would say hackable, but basically become infiltrated, and they can become dark force coins. So you do want to be careful of the ones you invest in. Okay, so that's a good question, Sam. Thanks for that. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Okay. Okay, I just got this from Grow P. Janine and Isabella have said the same. Okay, I'm assuming it may represent the idea of the ancestors coming back. Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad to see that they're tuning into the same source I am here. Okay, let's take a look at Horkon. Horkon says, "Hi, Brad. Can you take a look at the cards about chemtrails around the world? Will they be stopped?" Okay, it's a good question. I have looked at this in the past, but it's been a while since I've done an update. So let's take a look and see with the chemtrails around the world, and will they be stopped? Okay, open my other window here. Okay, so from what I'm getting, just feel this is what I've gotten constantly, guys. They're not a threat anymore, right? A lot with the chemtrails in that sense is that they're not a threat. There is spraying going together, but I think it's a spraying of a different type. This is not the old-fashioned agenda. A lot of the energy surrounding chemtrails, because I've done a numerous amount of readings in the past with the chemtrails, and I keep getting the same kind of result here, right? If I'm even just tuning it in through the Akasha here, taking a look at the chemtrail situation here. Yeah, they're being replaced. A lot of the factories that were creating chemtrails are basically being busted. They're being taken down. Is there spraying? Yeah, they're spraying, but it feels like there's something different in those chemtrails. And I don't think 100% of the planet is through there, because this is telling me that this may still be a work in progress that's taking place here. But it's telling me that the chemtrail agenda is basically on the way out, and they're doing some type of replacement chemtrail thing that's actually helping to clean the sky, not dirty it. So, and it's kind of a mixture. There's still some places around the planet that are still doing the old-fashioned chemtrails, but a lot of the factories, the majority of the factories that have been producing these chemtrail agents are being taken down and built into something new. But there still may be a few factories that are about that they're still in the process of taking down. And just what I can tell here from the Akasha is there is replacement. There is significant replacement. Yeah, there's significant replacement in the sky. There are new ingredients being placed directly into these trails that are actually helping to counteract and clean out a lot of the aluminum that has been contained within the sky and the atmosphere. So there's a lot of kind of counter chemtrails. And I've gotten this before. I've gotten this several times. And even with me, I had a hard time believing that, but it just kept showing up. It just kept showing up, right? So if there are chemtrails in the sky, it's kind of saying, well, are these chem or are these counter chemtrails? So to my feeling is that the entire operation of polluting the planet with chemtrails is on the way out, and they're basically using some type of counter chemtrails as well too. And I'll ask about that. I'm going to ask about that question. Are there counter chemtrails that are taking place? So we'll do a follow-up of that. But that's kind of what I'm getting, is that a lot of this agenda is coming to an end. And I'll just ask if there's counter chemtrails that are being produced to help combat the old effects of previous chemtrails. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Counter chemtrails. Yeah, big time. Big time. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so there's your answer right there, guys. Take it for what it's worth. This is just what I've been getting so many times. Like, I was so confused about this. Come on. Like, because I know what you guys are talking about. And I'd look at that and say, okay, well, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. There's, I've seen a lot of these videos of, just like nets, webs across the entire sky, and say, what the hell is going on here? Like, come on, there's going to be more of this, nasty chemtrail agenda that's taking place. And Spirit keeps telling me, nope, no. It's on the way out. It's getting out of here. It's like your 5G towers. Your 5G towers, a lot of them are being replaced with 432 hertz bandwidth. So 5G towers are being rendered harmless in many different places, not everywhere, but in many different places. 5G towers are being upgraded to 432 hertz frequency. So they're not going to be able to use that as weaponization in many different countries across the planet. Chemtrails are being completely and totally remodified. They're using counter chemtrails right now to help clean up and basically dissolve away a lot of aluminum oxide within the planet, the sky. This is all happening, and this is what the subconscious keeps telling me, guys. So I just have to report with what I'm seeing. Even when I'm doing this on the Akasha here as well too, I'm getting the same thing. You say, yeah, there's replacements. There's replacement counter chemtrails that are coming together. Even when I've done it with 5G towers, yep, there's replacements. There's 432 hertz bandwidth that is now being put directly into a majority of 5G towers. 5G towers are going to be rendered harmless. They're actually going to be very beneficial for the planet because they're broadcasting at the 432 hertz frequency, which is the frequency of the sun. So that's like the frequency of the sun vibration going across nature. That's being replaced. Chemtrails are being replaced. Okay, so I'm just telling you guys what I'm getting from the cards. I'm telling you guys what I'm getting from the Akasha, both for chemtrails and for 5G towers. Okay, a lot of their old weaponry is basically being completely and totally dismantled and remodified, overhauled into something else. And that's what I've called this year. 2024 is a year of overhaul. So doesn't surprise me, I guess. It certainly surprised me when I first got those readings. I was just as auspicious as you guys. Like, whoa, hang on, or suspicious, I should say. Just as suspicious as you guys. But these answers just keep coming to me. So that's all I can tell you. That's all I can report. I know it's good news. It doesn't look like good news, but that's what's happening. All right. So again, thank you, Harkon, for your question. Let's move on. Okay, so Ultra3412, hello. They say, hi, Brad. Which country will be the one of the first to adopt transitional government that 100% no longer peddles corrupt agendas in front of the scenes? Probably Russia. So Russia, I would say, would probably be in the lead with that. If we're looking at somewhere else besides Russia, the first, that's a tough one. It's a very tough one, but Russia would basically be in the lead for that. If I was to somewhat estimate the feeling, I'm just going through my feelings of many different countries that I've looked into. I'd say probably Japan, probably the next one, right? So Russia and Japan, I would say. Japan is really getting its act together. It's really getting its stuff together. It's going to be boiling over into something really, really big. But that's just my own perspective. I'm not saying that that is going to be it, but Russia would be it, and probably Japan would be the next, okay? Japan is just, they're really ahead of the game. Technologically speaking, they are vastly ahead of many different countries, right? I think Germany is getting close to that as well too. But Japan, they're having some incredible breakthroughs. What's very interesting is the Japanese are actually starting to develop piezoelectric technology to eventually replace their nuclear power, right? There's still so many countries that are so favorable of nuclear power in its stupidity, right? Even with Pierre Poilievre here in Canada, he's all pro-nuclear, and I said, that's stupidness, that's stupidity. Get off that crap. You don't need it, right? And looking at Japan, what they're doing is they're actually starting to create tiles that contain crystals underneath, like crystal tiles. And every time you walk under it, you're basically creating piezoelectric current, and that's being gathered into batteries. This is actually fulfilling a foretelling of Adronis, as he was actually talking to the Japanese people. He says, you are about to see a new invention of energy technology that is going to be harnessed through batteries that many of your culture is going to use, and it's going to be clean energy. And so he's kind of hinting at it, and that this is what I find out that they're actually creating. They're creating piezoelectric technology, where again, they can use that for roads, they can use it for highways, they can use it for sidewalks, where people are just walking on these tiled crystals, generating piezoelectric current and gathering that into batteries. That's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. And this is why I say Japan is way more ahead than many other countries combined, right? So they're very much thinking outside the box. Very, very brilliant. So I think Japan would be one of them. I can't say they'd be the first, but they'll certainly be one of them. But Russia, definitely ahead of the game. Okay? That's just my own perspective, like I said. But that's what I'm feeling. Okay? Thank you for your question. Okay. Okay, so if, yeah, I did put the meditation video here on Rumble as well, pertaining to the hurricanes. So Charlene is just saying, thanks so much for the meditation for the hurricanes. I believe it is helping. Kirk, which is the system in the Gulf, is down to a 30% chance of developing. That's wonderful. Okay, this is what I mean, guys. This is what I was so adamant in just making sure. Okay, guys, if I do create this, please, you have to help me, because I'm happy to share it to my list as well too, which I do. But I need other people to share it to their list, to share it to their communities as well too, and just encourage people to say, come on, guys, we really want to help to close off, to take care of these hurricanes, right? Scientific evidence has always shown that when people get together in large groups of meditation and they start meditating and shrinking down these things, it happens, right? There's scientific evidence to back that up. And so this can be used for many other different things, right? If there's any other, like there's typhoons that are happening, or earthquakes, or fear of earthquakes, or volcanoes, all of that can be buffered. A lot of it, we have the capability to, at best, slow it down, to shrink it down, to lessen its intensity. That's the power we all have. And even if it's just 1,000 people come together, that's a good amount, right? I'd like to see if we can get 10,000. But if we get at least 1,000 people doing this together, especially if we do it together in sync, it's really, really powerful. But as long as we're doing it together, focused on the same thing, yes, we will do that. And I think maybe that's something I'll do in the future. Maybe I'll do a monthly meditation, either on wisdom transmissions or signposts, and basically just get people to do it live, right? And that's my goal, is because I am going to be turning the YouTube channel into a membership channel. Okay, it's still going to have a lot of free content on it. It's still going to have the free wisdom transmissions webcast on it. But I'm also developing a membership, because I want to see if we can get more and more people together, tuning in to these paid ones, and basically being able to do meditations. But they'll be available for both the free and the paid content that'll be on the channel. So yeah, I mean, that's the goal, is basically trying to step this up and get this going. Like I said, guys, it is scientifically backed. There's scientific evidence. There's case studies of people, gathering in the many thousands, basically trying to prevent war. And that happens, right? We still have some scuffles here and there on the planet, but the majority of the planet is not at war. And a lot of that is thanks to our intentions. So thank you, Charlene, for bringing that up. I appreciate that. Okay, how are we on time here? We got about 20 minutes. So we can take a few more questions. Okay, this one here is from Ella Victo. Brad, could you check if the event that Adronis talked about regarding the before and after of humanity is going to happen soon? I think the collective consciousness have accelerated the occurrence. I'm really not capable of detecting when that happens, right? Even Adronis isn't capable of that. This is what he was saying. He said it's not really our capability to tell you exactly when this is happening, because we don't know, right? I would say the best thing to say is the only one that knows really is God, I've tried to look into this, but I've never gotten an exact time of when the event happens. But the event is a universal event. We're not just talking about something happens with the sun, right? We're talking about something that represents like a folding of singularity, where everything is affected. It's like a rewriting of timelines. It's like a rewriting of the cosmic of the cosmic intervention. It's a very colossal event, and we don't know when that's happening. I've even tried to tune into it, and I don't get an answer. Right? So sorry, that's not something we can convey to you. Right? So there will be certain events taking place upon the planet, and there could be something like a solar event that's taking place. We still don't know when that's happening, but this is something that Adronis was talking about. The actual event is something that's universal. It is going to spread out. It's going to affect the entire universe. It's going to affect people who are still alive in bodies and people who are disembodied. It is like a complete and total universal reset. We do not know when that's happening. That can happen in a year. That can happen in a decade. That can happen in a century, a couple centuries. We don't know, right? But that's the universal event. That's the colossal one, right? But as far as solar events taking place, I've talked about my own perspective about the nature of the sun, and we still don't even know when that's happening as well, too. Okay, there's the idea of big changes taking place upon the Earth, but she's going through progression, right? And I've talked about 2037 and 2038, and I still feel that's very valid. And I think a lot of big things are going to happen around that time. We may start to see days of darkness or something of that nature. I've been told that we certainly would, but things are always changing. With 2037, 2038, that represents, it's kind of like a golden dawn for humanity around that time. Adronis was also talking about post 2038 the other day as well. I can't remember what the exact conversation was, but I think he was talking about post 2038, about us starting to become much more susceptible and aligned to moving into the cosmos. I think it was. I'd have to look back on it. I can't remember too much of what he was talking about, but it's something very interesting about post 2038. Okay. So that's what I can share about that. I would love to give you guys dates or when this is going to happen. I don't know. I don't know, and I've really tried to look into it to find exactly when it's happening. So do I see the event happening, right? And really, what it is, it's an upliftment, but it's a sequence of events. It's a symphony, right? It really is a symphony of different events, and then it culminates with a finale. Okay, my closest estimation would be 2037, 2038, but I can't put my head on that. That has been such a significator of something that I can talk about because something very grand is supposed to happen around that time. But that would be the closest thing I could give you, 2037, 2038. Okay, we just have to see what comes. As we get closer to that time, maybe we'll look into it. Maybe more will be revealed. Okay, thank you for your question. All right. Yeah, if you guys missed yesterday's webcast, don't worry about it. It's always recorded on YouTube, so you can always check it out. It's also here on Rumble as well, too. Okay, this is from Horcon. So disregard my previous question about asking about our ancestors. I should say, this is more important. Where do they come from? Okay, that's a good question. We don't always know exactly where they're coming from. A lot of them keep it secret. There are connections to Lyra. Okay, so basically we could say that the constellation of Lyra could be a homestead for them. But I'm thinking that a lot of these beings basically emerge from other dimensions, other realities in that way. And they come here into this universe to basically spread a seed. Okay, but I always say that there really is just one universe, but we're looking at other verses. We're looking at other fractals of life, and they come from these different dimensional fractals, and they come here and they spread their seed. Okay, so Lyra simply represents a staging point to where a lot of the beginnings pertaining to the human race was created. Okay, so Lyra basically represents like our original homestead, but I can't guarantee that that's where they came from, but I think that's probably where they've set up camp when they were first putting all this together, because it really represents the root races, the true Anunnaki in that sense, that represent the 6 root races that were assisting in the co-creation of it. Okay, but out of those 6 particular races, we have 22. So again, the 22 represents the genetic stock contained within our own genome. We could even liken that to the chromosomes, right? 22 different chromosomes, therefore generating the 23rd. So there's still a lot of that that's left in mystery, and I'd like to look into these things. I'm not a master geneticist in any way, so I can't really talk genetic talk, right? I do what I can to try and give it the best interpretation I can through my own language and through my own comprehension, but it's vast. It's very vast, and it's also tying in with different dimensions too. It's not just looking at like a linear timeline. It's like forging all of these different components of reality in together that makes up the human race. It's complex to try and put into terms in this language, right? Because there's so much. It's like you're basically putting the complete and total intelligence of the entire universe into the DNA of the human species. That's very hard to try and interpret that with a really clumsy, idiotic language as English is. So even when I get these ideas, I get these visions, I see how like stars are merging into us and everything. And that's basically what it is. It's like you're looking at galaxies, you're looking at stars, you're looking at suns, you're looking at planets. All of this is merging into our DNA, right? So it's not something you can just sit down and have a Sunday morning conversation with over a cup of coffee. This is some very, very advanced knowledge about who these beings are, how they were able to curate the human race, or basically create a version of the human race. Because they did not create the human race. They created a version of the human race to which we represent. Right? One of our creators basically is human. Okay? But they represent the ancient human. So basically, when we look at the Earth human here on the planet, the Earth human is a rendition of not only the galactic or universal human, but also many of these other different archetypes, which means we have DNA within ourselves that's avian, that's aquatic, that's reptilian, that's insectoid, right? All of these different forms of DNA are contained within our own genetic stock. And we basically just hold the human design because it's energetically appropriate for what we're here to do on this planet, right? It's just it's an appropriate energetic configuration of who we are and what we're meant to go through, right? So there you go, Horkon. That's the best thing I can do for you. And there are certain things that I am getting flow, but trying to translate that in language is very, very difficult, right? So it's different if you and I were hooked up and we were able to do telepathic exchanges, then I could probably give you a lot more details. But through the English language, very challenging to explain all this to you. But the closest thing we could say to our ancestors is that one point we could look at would be Lyra. Okay, thank you for your question. All right, let's see. Okay. Okay, here's a good one here from Marcia 2001. With our ancestors coming back, what can we do to help? They would just say, just act accordingly as you're feeling, right? Trust your feelings, trust your instincts, work together. Oh, sorry, I bumped the wrong button there. Just trust your feelings, trust your instincts. I got my microphone on. I guess not. Okay. Let me just go ahead and pull off that camera there. Okay. So trust your feelings, trust your instincts, follow through from where you're feeling guided to follow through, right? Just keep doing what you're doing. You don't feel like you have to do something extra. So that's not what they would expect of you. They just want you to live your life, right? And basically, like I said, if you're not involved with parasitic affairs, then you're doing just fine, right? Raise your family, work with your family, talk to your friends, do what you're continuing to do, right? And they basically would say, just please leave the behind the scenes work with us. We don't want you to get involved. We don't want to put you in danger, right? Just leave the behind the scenes work to us. We know what we're doing, right? And these are, again, ancestors that are billions of years old, okay? They've seen some stuff, okay? And they've worked through a lot of different things. This is not new to them, but they are certainly upset that these parasites have come to this planet and tried to mess it up and screw it up in the way that they have. They don't belong here. This is not their home. This is not where they're supposed to be. And there has been so much negotiation of the past to even try to get them out of here, but they won't. It's a parasite clinging to a living organism. They're not going to get out of here. So, okay, well, if they're not going to get out of here, then we're going to exterminate every single one of them. And that's basically what's happening. It's, I wouldn't even call it a war. It's an extermination. That's what's happening. So, you know, I'm never in favor of those things, but this is not my call. But this is exactly what they're doing. They are extremely upset that this has happened to the planet. They are extremely upset that this has happened to the Earth. They're extremely upset that these parasites have taken over, that they know that they're not supposed to be here, that they know this is not their home, that they don't care. I don't even like to use this word, but it's pure evil. It is the purity of evil. It is the incarnation of evil that they are here, right? And they're not supposed to be. And so they're going to be removed. So that's a lot of behind the scenes work. That's not for us to get involved with. That's not for me to get involved with. Some people may think, oh, I wonder if Brad has like connections to like these particular agencies. I don't, right? I don't have any particular connection to any agency or government agency or anything like that. Not to my knowledge. No, what I'm doing is I'm connecting to the subconscious. I'm going deeper and I'm looking into these things and sharing what I do share. But I have no affiliation with any government or agency or anything of that nature. How I get this is tuning into the source, and the source tells me what's going on. So all I'm being is just a messenger, an informant, you could say a type of subconscious journalist to give an idea about what's going on. But what we can do to help is please just live your life. Just live your life as you've been doing. Do what you feel you're being guided to do, right? Now that's helping people. That's maybe starting a business. Maybe that's doing readings for people, educating people in a way, enjoying life with family. That's what you do, right? That's your life. Do not concern about what you have to do behind the scenes. It's ugly, right? If you basically started looking at what they were doing behind the scenes, you'd be traumatized like crazy with what they're doing, okay? And especially with what they have to hunt down, okay? You are looking at beings that look as close to real demons as possible, okay? You are looking at beings that look like they've came out of the mouth of hell, right? These are not pretty beings. They are gross, they are disgusting, they are revolting. What they do to children, what they do to women, what they do with animals, what they do with the entire planet, they completely and totally desecrate everything that's sacred, right? These are not pleasant beings that you want to encounter. They are volatile, they are vicious, and they would not hesitate to take you out just like that without a second thought. Don't get involved with that stuff, right? Leave it to the behind the scenes, because that's their role. Our role is being here in front of the scenes and living life to where we're feeling guided by the heart. Okay, so that's what I can share about that. But thank you for your question. Okay, guys, we're almost out of time, so I think we'll take one or two more questions before we wrap up. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, here's one from GrowP56. How safe are the hospitals for people now with operations where they are put under anesthesia and with medication? I don't know if it's the same all over the world. I'm thinking of Norway in particular. Well, they do follow a certain procedure in that way. I'm not too sure what you mean by safe. How safe are the hospitals in that sense? Well, again, if we're working with anesthesia and medication, it's not the best thing to work with, of course. But I would say it's really no more different than how it's always been, right? They work with these drugs, they work with anesthesia, they work with operating rooms. And like I said, when it was CV-19 time, right, it was a lot more chaotic. And even with certain hospitals as well, too, they're so significantly understaffed that you basically wouldn't even be able to get in right away. I'm not too sure if that's what's happening in Norway, okay? But even here in British Columbia, in Canada, if you're up north, if you're further up north in BC, their hospitals aren't even open on the weekends. So if you're basically going through a type of blood force trauma and it's a Friday night, good luck trying to get to a hospital. Okay, this is what I'm talking about, is how stupid they're basically trying to almost defund hospitals, right? And that's happening with a lot of different countries. Okay, with Norway, I'm pretty sure it'd be the same thing. Okay, Norway, I've checked into it, and it certainly does have that. Okay, so we need to take care of ourselves, because what they're trying to do is, this is what they've talked about. They're trying to defund police. They're trying to defund gas stations. They're even trying to defund hospitals. Okay, so this is what I mean, is that there needs to be a stand against this. This is something that is intolerable. Do not in any way feel like you're going to allow some leader to come in and say, let's defund the police, let's defund gas stations, let's defund hospitals. And they may not even try to say that, but that's really what they're doing. They're just trying to defund workers so that people can't even get to the hospital. Like when I had my dislocated shoulder, it took me over 5 hours just to get somebody to look at me. That's how bad it is. And that was actually one of the good hospitals that I went to. There's ones that are supposed to be like bigger hospitals, and they're worse. You basically have to almost stay there like 12, 24 hours before you even looked at, right? This is what I'm talking about. Is it's terrible, right? I will look into the cards here in just a moment, okay? But I'm just giving you guys a bit of a heads up about what is actually happening with many of the hospitals around the planet, right? In many different countries, is that it will take some time even for you to even get looked at, okay? So now we'll go ahead. We'll take a look at Norway in regards to their hospitals. Okay. All right. Let's see what the hospitals are like in Norway. Okay. Okay, so the Norwegian hospitals still look pretty rigid from what I'm getting here. Oh, sorry, I have to put that back on stage. There we go. So they still look a little bit rigid. I mean, right now they're okay, but I feel like they're still trying to implement laws like what I'm talking about, okay? Norway is not safe from that. So this is exactly what they're trying to do, is basically trying to apply that and basically make hospitals short-staffed to make it feel like it's going to be harder to even just get seen at a hospital, okay? Right now it might be okay, but that's what they're planning, okay? Do not let them plan that. You make sure you stand up tall. You make sure you stand up strong, because they're trying to reorganize that. They're basically trying to do it, okay? This is all part of them, my friends, and I know you don't like to hear this, but this is all part of them trying to take out the majority of the population, okay? And they will make hospitals difficult to even get into. Not right away, but there's a plan for that. Don't let them do it, okay? And this is where you have to kind of stand up in defense. Okay, even Norway is not safe. So a lot of these particular developed countries, I'm really talking about the quote-unquote developed countries here, are basically having agendas in place where it will be very difficult for you even to get hospital service. Okay, just don't let them do that. If there's any talk about that, if there's any hidden language or double entendre pertaining to that, stand up to it. Okay. Like I said, it's not unusual that they've been trying to defund police and take out gas stations and prevent hospitals from being open and all of that. That's part of their agenda. So you need to be on red alert with that, okay? So that's the most important thing I can share. And I'm not just talking about Norway, even though this is a reading for Norway, okay? But it is also for many developed countries across the planet. I'm talking to a lot of you. Just be careful. If that's not happening in your area, great. Make sure it doesn't. But if you're getting any kind of wind about that, where it's, if you're checking on hospitals, you're talking to people and saying, yeah, I went to the hospital, it took me almost overnight before they even looked at me. Well, we got to make some changes here. We got to stand up and we got to make our voices heard. Very important. Okay. That's what I can share all together. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Yeah, so, well, like you were saying here, Grow P56, you have no choice. I'm not saying not to go to a hospital. That's not what's being said here, Grow P. Please do go to a hospital when you need an operation. What I'm trying to tell you is that there are plans in place where they're going to make it more difficult for you to even get an operation, for you to even get into a hospital. That's the plan that they're trying to do. Right. So make sure that that doesn't happen, right? Work together with others, talk to people, find out what's going on. And I'm not saying you guys shouldn't go into a hospital if you need an operation. Of course you do. Absolutely. That's not what's being said here, right? But what is being said is be careful, okay? Because they are trying to almost defund hospitals. So you want to be on alert for that, okay? I hope that makes sense to everybody that's hearing me. All right, everybody, we are out of time for today. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me on the Signposts. This Saturday, we have a Module 1 of the Resonant Dowsing course that's happening on YouTube. So feel free to check that out. That's going to be really amazing. And again, you can also sign up to the ethericsacademy.com. It's just www.ethericsacademy.com. Resonant Dowsing course is happening. It's going to be an amazing discovery. There's going to be a lot of great teachings about the whole resonant dowsing skill. You're going to learn a lot of different things about it. Check it out. It is on ethericsacademy.com. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I'll talk to you all next week. Blessings to you all. Take care. Namaskar, and may be well with you. Bye for now.